Stocks trade in a narrow range with advances and decline balancing each other. Realty and financials eke out gains while power and healthcare trade soft. Mid-caps underperform. DMart owner Avenue Supermarts reports slower revenue growth and a dip in margins. The retailer cites impact on line of grocery sales on business, leading analysts to trim their growth forecast. The stock slips. Industry veterans see Noel Tata bringing stability to the Tata Group with a calibrated approach to growth. A sharpening on focus on consumer-facing businesses is also likely, but the new chair of Tata Trust isn't likely to do anything in a rush. India's industrial output in August contracted by 0.1%, with many segments like power, mining, infra and capital goods showing contraction or weak growth. Some economists see heavy rains as the reason, but some say seen along with weak GSE collections in September. August IIP raises fears of GDP downgrades for Q2. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that MTNL won't be allowed to shut and NCLT route is ruled out as it will set a wrong precedent for a PSU. A revival plan is likely in the works for the beleaguered telecom company. Hello, good afternoon. You're watching Business Lunch. I'm Bani Motiwala. And let's look at the market. What is that doing right now? Nifty, we're seeing a bit of a gain coming in, but the mid and small cap today, that's where the underperformance is coming in. Nifty as of now holding on to 0.6% of gain. Mid and small cap just holding to side bit of that positive side. Look at the mid cap, right? 0.03% gain. Small cap 0.1% of gain is what the Nifty small cap is managing to hold on to. Let's look at some of the gainers that we're seeing in the Nifty 50 today. What is performing well? So we do have something like a Wipro, TechM that's holding on to gains. We have HDFC Bank as well as HDFC Life among the top gainers in the Nifty 50. Do not forget that we do have HCL Tech as well as Reliance Industries. Both these will be reporting their numbers today, so keeping an eye out on that. Nifty Bank, what's that doing? Because that's managing to hold on to good gains. We did see some of the banking names coming in and performing well in the Nifty 50. So HDFC Bank, like I mentioned, we also have Kotak Bank, IndusInd Bank, ICICI Bank, which is managing to hold on to some bit of a gain today. But that's how we're shaping up and looking at in terms of the banking index as of now. AU Small Finance Bank also making the list amongst the gainers today. Let's move on and talk about some of the retail side. What we're seeing in terms of a pressure that's coming today is Avenue Supermart. That is under pressure after it reported its numbers. But how are they looking like in terms of what was the reason behind this weak set of numbers? Let's go across to Mangalam, who's joining in with us to give us more details on what led to the fall in terms of the numbers and the stock price also for Avenue Supermart. Mangalam, good afternoon.
Well, if you look at just the numbers of Avenue Supermarts as well, it looks like it's the beginning of a structural decline in the company's margins. Why do I say that? Because one, the company's called out categorically that there is an impact on online grocery formats in the large metro DMart stores. And secondly, while they are also ramping up their DMart Ready business, it may mean, incurring costs. And if they even have to go ahead and increase their stores as the street expects them to, they would have to increase some costs as well. As a result of which, the revenue of the company, which we already knew was higher by about 14.5%, 14,444 crores on a consolidated basis. The EBITDA grew by just 8.8%, which implied a margin decline of 40 basis points, and the net profit on the back of that grew just shy of 6% as well. The gross margins of the company, while they improved quarter on quarter by 20 basis points, it was a decline of almost 70 basis points year on year. DMart Ready, which grew around 24.5% in the second quarter to almost 400 crore per quarter in terms of a revenue run rate, actually had to make an EBITDA loss of 11 crores as the company is expanding the quick commerce vertical for this business itself. What the street didn't like in particular was, the like-for-like revenue growth coming in at 5.5%, which is at a multi-year low. And this compares to 9.1% in the previous quarter itself. So there have been a slew of brokerage downgrades coming in as well. Case in point, something like a Morgan Stanley, they've downgraded the stock. The target price has been cut to 3,700 rupees. They believe that, the management commentary has put a doubt on the 20% growth algorithm that the company was focusing, and this could lead to further derating. The stock trades at around 62 times 1 year EV to EBITDA as well, so not particularly cheap. CLSA too has cut their earnings estimates by around 13 to 15%. JP Morgan has downgraded the stock. In fact, they've lowered their same-store sales growth forecast to about 4 to 6%, and as a result of which the EBITDA and net profit estimates are down by 8 to 10% as well. And Goldman Sachs says that the rapid scale-up of Q-commerce is likely to continue, which will only impact Avenue Supermarts.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Mangalam. As of now, when you're looking at Avenue Supermart, it's trading almost near its 6-month low level, so keeping an eye out on that. Let's shift focus to some more earnings, but earnings that are expected today. We'll talk about Reliance Industry. That is set to report its numbers, second quarter earnings. What are we expecting this time? Reema is joining in with us to give us all the important cues that we should be watching out for in terms of Reliance's numbers.
So Reliance Industries share price over the last couple of days has underperformed the market, but still on a year-to-date basis, it's given a return of about 7%. Now this quarter, on a year-on-year basis, the trends could come under pressure. Though sequentially, we're expecting things to be flatter and a lot more stable. So revenue growth on a year-on-year basis is down about 8%. EBITDA is down 12%. Margins are likely to come in at 17% and profits are down 21%. But on a quarter-on-quarter basis, as I said, things will appear to be a lot more stable. Revenues are just flattish at about 2.3 lakh crore rupees. Operating margins, though, are likely to see a pickup to levels of 17.5%, and this will drive about a 4% increase in the company's profitability. So what will drive that? So O2C is likely to have a subdued quarter. For retail business, there will be a slight pickup in EBITDA sequentially, but telecom is going to have a good quarter courtesy the tariff hike. Singapore GRMs are going to be subdued at $3.6 per barrel, according to the CNBC-TV18 poll. Now, just to give some more color on the individual segments, this is what Jefferies is expecting. Jefferies is saying the Jio will see a good jump. EBITDA should go up 9%. The average revenue per user should go up 7%. As I said, this is courtesy the 20%, near 20% tariff hike that the company took in July. And this will drive a very strong quarter for the telecom business. For retail, growth for the industry per se has been a bit subdued, but Reliance Retail's EBITDA should go up by 5%. O2C is likely to have a weaker quarter on weaker refining and petchem margins. And finally, leaving you with the EBITDA trends that we've seen for Reliance Industries over the last couple of quarters.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Reema, keeping an eye out on Reliance's earnings. But on that note, we're going to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere, because after the break, we will get you some excerpts from our conversation with the panel from the ICICI Annual India Leadership Summit. So stay tuned in. Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch on CNBC-TV18. And as promised, from the sidelines of ICICI Annual India Leadership Summit 2024, the chairman, John Chambers, says that India's IPO market is big. He adds that the secure supply chain is seeing billions in new manufacturing investments. Listen in.
In just 1 year, it's changing what used to be 3 to 5 years. From a startup perspective, which is your passion, in the 127,000 startups in India, you begin to look at the number of unicorns created. It's the most fast-growing area in the world. Your IPO market is now 17% of the world's IPOs. And why that's important to the average person in India is you add your head count after you become a unicorn and after an IPO. So you will begin to see the investments, which went up 15-fold from 2015 to 2022, starting to repay dividends. the timing is right. You've got to catch market inflection points. You're seeing now with the semiconductor industry, also supply chain, so important to the future of a country, but you're also seeing the support start to occur. So you see the big semiconductor companies coming in terms of what's really possible. And you watch what an Apple does in terms of investment, a GE in terms of investment. So the timing's right, and I'm pretty good at inflection points. I have a lot of weaknesses. The timing is right on manufacturing. It's probably the most important element for job creation in India. So I think doing that across all of the 28 states becomes very important. But it's the right time with the right leadership to occur.
And at the summit, Shireen also spoke to Mukesh Aghi, who is the president and CEO of US ISPF, and he added that India has become critical in the stress times of supply chain industry. Listen in.
The stress point with US and China, where companies are saying, hey, I need to de-risk my supply chain, India becomes critical. India has made a tremendous effort to ensure that a lot of companies come in here. Yes, we're seeing them going to Vietnam, Cambodia, but India also provides a market. It's a $4 trillion economy, going to become a $5 trillion economy. So what we are seeing is market opportunity, manufacturing. The final factor I like to add is there's a shortage of skilled workers in the US. And US has that limitation at the moment, and India becomes pivotal to be their industrial base.
Okay, on that note, we're going to slip into a very short break. But after the break, we'll come back and give you all the updates about the shooting of the NCP leader, Baba Siddiqui, and the ongoing investigation into the shootout. Welcome back. You're tuned into Business Lunch on CNBC-TV18. And let's move on. An Air India flight from Mumbai to New York was redirected to Delhi on a Monday after receiving a bomb threat. Two West Asia-bound Indigo flights from Mumbai too received bomb threats. We are joined by Danish to give us more updates on this front. Danish, what are you picking up here? What are the details?
Well, it seems to be a manic Monday for the airlines in India, as not one but three international bound flights received bomb threats earlier in the day. Majorly, Indigo is impacted the most by this, as two of its flights, one from Mumbai to Muscat and the other from Mumbai to Jeddah, received bomb threats earlier in the morning. As per protocol, both of these aircraft were taken to the isolation bay, and the entire aircraft was properly checked and sanitized, and each and every baggage of every passenger was also checked. Similarly, if we look at the Air India flight was supposed to fly to New York from Mumbai, but after receiving this bomb threat, the aircraft was diverted to Delhi, and similarly the same protocol was followed in Delhi. The entire aircraft was sanitized. So as far as the Air India flight is concerned, this particular aircraft will now depart tomorrow, that is on 15th October, while the Indigo flights, one flight has already departed from Mumbai, and the other aircraft is also supposed to soon depart from Bombay. But if we look at the overall impact, overall 600 passengers have been affected by this, and as far as the government norms are concerned, BCAS, which is the security watchdog for India's aviation safety, that the DG has already proposed to increase the period to put a particular person on a no-fly list or on the ban list for 5 years. This particular proposal is pending with the government, and over the past few months, we have also seen that there has been a sharp increase in such bomb threats. Many people have been arrested in the past, but as far as three particular bomb threats that were received earlier in the day are concerned, police is yet to take action on this, and they still have to catch the culprits. But if we see overall, it is the passengers that are impacted the most, because they have to then take the other flight, and people that have to fly from one city to another and they have to catch a different flight, they struggle from this the most.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Danish. But let's move on. And in a major announcement ahead of the assembly elections, Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde announced in the state cabinet meeting that all light motor vehicles entering Mumbai will be eligible for full toll waivers. Santya is joining with us to give us the latest update on this. Santya?
So in what could be its last meeting before the Model Code of Conduct comes into effect, Maharashtra government, Maharashtra cabinet today once again took a bunch of decisions. This happened in the cabinet meeting. Now toll exemption is one of those decisions. According to Maharashtra government's recent announcement, starting tonight, midnight to be specific, all light motor vehicles will be exempted from paying toll at all the 5 entry points of Mumbai. These 5 entry points are Dahisar Toll Naka, Airoli Toll, Vashi Toll, Anandnagar Toll and Modela Toll. Now the contracts, government's contracts with these toll companies will expire in 2026, meaning that the government will have to compensate these toll companies for imposing this exemption before the contracts end. Remember, Maharashtra government is anyway under scrutiny for announcing various schemes and clearing multiple projects, despite the state's finance department's warning that the state exchequer does not have sufficient funds to support these projects and schemes.
Okay, Sandhya, thank you so much, for joining in with us and giving us that latest update there. But moving on to some more updates from Mumbai. Ahead of the Maharashtra's assembly elections, Nationalist Congress Party leader Baba Siddiqui was shot dead in Mumbai's Bandra on Saturday evening. 2 of the assailants have been detained by the local police authorities, while the third is on the run. Investigation is still underway and the police is exploring all possible motives and angles leading to the aggression. And moving on to some news from up north, the central government has withdrawn President's rule from Jammu and Kashmir after 5 years. The President rule was implemented in October 2019 when Jammu and Kashmir was divided and made a union territory. The latest development comes after the National Conference Congress Alliance stacked claims to form the government after securing a clear majority in the polls held in September-October. And just a quick look at what the markets are doing as of now as well, and specific stocks that I want to highlight right now. Let's pull up something like a BSE because that's up 10% in trade. In the last half an hour, it's gone up almost, a couple of points that we're seeing. As of now, BSE is trading at the day's highest point. We also have CDSL that's trading with sharp gains right now, holding on to gains of 9%, and this is good volumes is what both these stocks are holding on to as well. So good volumes, 9% gain for CDSL. And also let's look at something like an Aptus Value Housing that's holding on to gains of 7%, as well as Poly Medicure. All these are some of the volume buzzers as well as strong gains that we're seeing coming in for these stocks. Aptus Value also almost near the day's highest point. Poly Medicure given up this day's high, but still a 5% gain is what Poly Medicure is holding on to. So yes, that's how we are leaving the market at. Mid and small cap, a bit of an underperformance, but Nifty, that's managing a hold on to decent gains. And that's all the time that we have on this edition of Business Lunch. Thank you so much for tuning in, and Mid Cap Radar up next.